Okay, got it. All right, y'all ready? Let's go.
Ready.
All right, welcome everybody to another webinar given to you by the 032 team, Scaling Smarter Virtual Support for Publishers. And just a little bit of background, both Kevin and I started going to the Philippines. I started going to the Philippines in 2008 to support a publishing media company called Beckett Media, which hopefully everybody knows the old baseball card, football card price guides. That's was the publishing company that we worked for. We had 32 enthusiast titles, and we were working with offshore talent in the Philippines that were working directly for Beckett. And that's where we came up with the idea of creating a company that would support publishers in the US, all based from the Philippines. My background with this, I had no idea about the Philippines. I didn't know anything. I couldn't spell it. But I did know once I got there, I absolutely fell in love with the people and the culture and how Americanized the country was and how they could help U.S. publishing companies. And they were hungry to work. Everybody was hungry to work. They would do their task. They were willing to learn. And so that's where we started with Beckett. And then we created our company in 2012. And if you want to keep scrolling down a little bit, also in 2014, I also started my own publishing company where I've got some neighborhood publications and a city regional magazine. And then in 2020, we started doing more, instead of just project-based, but doing more virtual staffing, where we are providing publishing virtual assistants or accountants or social media specialists to publishing companies and some other small to mid-size companies as well. So the whole goal of this is not to hear me, because most of you guys like Jim know who I am, but really it's to spotlight the talent and the knowledge of the people that we have, and some real life case studies of what people are currently, or why people are currently using their publishing virtual assistants. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to one of my best friends in the whole world, and I'm
Oh,
sure most of you people know her. But here is the great Queenie Bontuyan.
all right. Thank you so much, Mike. That's touching. Um, Now that you've heard the story of how 032 Outsourcing got started, I want to walk you through the process that we use to help publishers like you successfully scale with a virtual support. So right there is our proven process. So what we've built is structured, intentional, and rooted in nearly 20 years of hands-on outsourcing experience in the publishing and media space. Over time, we've taken the most effective elements from both traditional outsourcing and a day-to-day publishing operations, refined them, and bundled them up into a system that consistently drives success. So again, we call that our proven process, and it actually breaks down into three core phases: train, hire, deploy. So let's start with train. So this is where we build a pipeline of publishing ready talents. Before you ever meet a candidate, we've already done a lot of groundwork. We start by sourcing qualified candidates, actually experienced virtual assistants who have supported US businesses in similar roles. So we look for long tenure in past positions, proven reliability in individuals who have shown career growth and know how to support a team. So next, we conduct a training. Every virtual assistant goes through a structured internal program covering 6 core publishing functions. So these are traffic coordination, digital advertising support, sales support, content management, finance support, and admin tasks. So this training is tailored specifically to the needs of community publishers like you. And finally, we certify these trainees internally to ensure that they meet quality standards before ever being introduced to a client or be ever before being deployed to you guys. So next phase is the hire phase. So this is once we've built up a bench of trained talents, we tailor the hiring process to your exact needs. So we start with a proposal based on a discovery call to outline the role, the functions, and also the pricing. Then we build a job description or scope of work in partnership with you based on your business goals, your workflows, and measurable expectations. And from there, you will interview a short list of candidates who have already completed our training and are ready to contribute right away. So once you have selected your publishing virtual assistants, we will handle the internal onboarding. So this is where we set up system, access any internal prep needed for a smooth transition. And then the third phase is the deploy phase. So this is where we launch and support your PVA. So this is where the fun begins and where we ensure everything stays aligned and productive. So we begin with a kickoff call to introduce you to our customer success manager, our group leader who will be working directly with your PVA. And this is where we set expectations, gather key information, and answer any of your burning questions before your PVA begins integrating with your team. So we then work closely with you to bring the role to life. So using the job description as a blueprint, we map out specific tasks, define deliverables, and establish KPIs, and also guide the PVA through a structured nurturing phase. So behind the scenes, we provide regular monitoring, tracking time, task performance, and output so that we can catch and correct any issues early on. So, and in addition to that, we also hold regular client check-ins, and this is where we gather your feedback, make any adjustments if needed, and ensure our internal tracking matches your live experience. So you could expect our group leader to reach out to you to book a time to just meet with you, just to catch up, just a regular check-in, to make sure that what our PVA is saying that she is experiencing, that you are also experiencing that. So it's translating on your end. And over time, we would conduct business reviews to stay aligned with your goals and possibly or potentially identify new ways on how we can further support your growth. And then next slide, as a recap, again, that's our proven process. We train, we hire before we deploy. So it is structured, it's proactive, and it's built specifically to help publishers streamline operations, improve consistency and scale without overwhelming your internal team. And with that, I'll hand it over to Victoria so that we can look at real world examples of this process in action.
All right, thank you, Queenie. So yes, that is our proven process. So now that we've walked through this proven process, we'd like to help you give an understanding of a real case scenario, seeing firsthand from one of our actual PVAs. So first up, we'll hear from Cindy, a PVA who supports ICOMDA and its leadership team. So, and then we'll hear from another partner or clients we're working with, which is Great Deals Magazine, and how they've scaled their publishing operations with a multi-member 032 team. So PVAs in action. So starting up with Cindy.
Thank you, Victoria. Hi, everybody. My name is Cindy, and I live in Cebu, Philippines. I've been working as a publishing virtual assistant with 032 Outsourcing since September 17 of last year. I support ICOMDA and work directly with Chris and Aaron. In addition to iComda, I also assist with their individual publications like Shop Smart for Chris in Indiana and Local Living and Home Matters for Aaron in Arkansas. By the way, ICOMDA, or Independent Co-op Mail Dealers Association, it is a nationwide network of local independent publishers and direct mail marketing experts who collaborate, share best practices, and support each other in growing their publications collectively. They're mailing to over 300 million homes each year. And my typical day is actually a mix of structured tasks and dynamic projects. On the Acomda side, I help onboard new members and vendors. So when onboarding new members, I collect key details via email like publication name, logo, frequency, circulation, and specs or ad specs and key dates. And once I've gathered everything, I update their information in our internal communication. We call it Gaggle, and then add them to the iComda website and let them know about the upcoming trainings and events that we have. Most of this is handled through email, but I'm always happy to jump on a Zoom call if needed. I also manage and update the iComda website by adding new members and vendors, posting events announcements, and keeping ad content fresh. The actual site is actually it runs on WordPress, and thanks to training from 032 Outsourcing, I'm now comfortable navigating and maintaining it. So big thanks to 032. Beyond that, I actually help organize trainings and webinars, document all member information, handle email communications, and send out monthly newsletters. So this newsletters that we have, was actually my idea. I suggested it to Chris and Aaron as a way to keep members better informed. It includes FAQs from Gaggle, reminders, event updates, and helpful tips to keep everyone in the loop. On the publishing side, I actually support Chris by updating geofencing worksheets, managing sales trackers and reports, proofing ads, helping with layout support, and jumping in whenever needed. And with Aaron, I also assist him on publishing projects and edit invoices to help keep his workflow smooth. I also use QuickBooks and AdOrbit to pull reports and review revenue trends. They given me access so I can support this side of the business too. So overall, to do my job well, I really rely on a few key things from Chris and Aaron, and I think they apply to any publisher working with PVA. So first is clear timelines and deadlines, especially around publications, trainings, and events. Second is context and background information when new projects come up. Third one is clarity on roles when working across multiple brands or publications. Fourth one is advance notice when schedules or priorities change. And last but not the least, it's honest feedback, both positive and constructive, so I can keep improving. So my biggest advice to everyone is that keep the communication open and treat your PVA like part of your family or part of the team. The more we're in the loop, the more value we bring. So that's it for me. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Right on. Thank you, Cindy, so much. I think Cindy is a great example of the versatility of outsourcing and working with PVAs. You can hear how many functions that her support spans across. So really driving a big impact. So now we will jump over and talk with one of our partners, Great Deals Magazines. We have Jason with us here. Unfortunately, Matt could not make it, but we have Jason, and we're gonna talk to him from the publisher's perspective on kind of how he works with us and his journey along the way. So, hey, Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. So can you just share a little bit of your background, give a little quick elevator pitch on what Great Deals is and what y'all do, and then kind of how long you've been working with us and what got you there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do about 7 local zone magazines in East Central Indiana. Been in business for about 30 years. About, I think it's 4 years ago now. I may be off on my timeline. I met Mike at a conference and we were talking about doing some overflow with our graphic designer. We had a staff graphic designer at the time who was struggling to kind of keep up with the design needs. And during the process of talking to Mike about like kind of doing some overflow, we had something happen and we no longer had our designer. So we ended up needing a full-time designer in a hurry. And that's where 032 stepped in. We got our first designer, like I said, I think 4 years or maybe three. I may be off on the time there. Time flies. Um, and so that designer, and then obviously we knew one designer wasn't going to be able to handle everything. So about a year later, we added a second designer through 032, and then about, I want to say 4 months, Medi may be able to correct me there. Medi joined us as a PVA and kind of manages our social media and more stuff than I can list, I'm sure, at this point.
That's a good thing when you don't know exactly everything that they're doing for you and you're still smiling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. And some of the challenges you're faced with, obviously in that graphic design space, but specifically for where you're located, um, limited talent pools. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, Central Indiana, maybe a little bit further away, we might have had a bigger pool, but it just where we're located, it's hard to find somebody. And then, especially at the time when we just needed somebody part-time, it's a little bit harder to find somebody in that space locally to be able to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. So right on, we've got a video of your design team and kind of just showing what a day looks like for their function. So let's check that out real quick if we can play that.
Right.
Creating a successful magazine involves numerous intricate steps. A publishing virtual assistant plays a vital role in guiding that process from start to finish. Hi, I'm Leo, a graphic designer and publishing virtual assistant at Great Deals Media. Join me as we walk through a typical monthly cycle of magazine production. The month begins with receiving the client list from Matt. My first key task is reaching out to advertisers to gather their ad artwork. Using tools like AdOrbit and direct email, I ensure clear communication and provide necessary specifications. For new clients or when updates are needed, I also create initial ad designs based on their requirements. The second week is often focused on refining the visuals. I receive feedback on initial proofs and work diligently on revisions. New ad creation requests coming in from our sales team, ensuring all advertising materials are visually compelling and brand consistent. Meticulous organization of all received artwork, whether camera ready or client provided, is crucial for a smooth layout process. As we move into the third week, the magazine layout takes center stage. Matt provides the pagination, guiding where each ad will be placed. I then integrate all the approved and finalized ad artwork into the magazine template, ensuring proper sizing and placement. Once the initial layout is complete, it's shared with Matt and the sales team for their review and feedback. The final week involves incorporating any necessary revisions to the magazine layout based on the team's feedback. This iterative process ensures accuracy and quality. Once all approvals are in, we prepare the final digital files for our printing partners, ensuring they meet all technical specifications. With the current issue sent off to print, our focus shifts to a post-production meeting. This is a crucial time for the team to review the recently completed issue, discuss any challenges encountered, and identify areas for improvement in the upcoming cycle. We also begin to strategize for the next month's issue, touching upon potential themes, client updates, and any new initiatives. And just like that, the monthly cycle completes, ready to begin anew with the next issue. This cycle of review and planning ensures continuous improvement and a proactive approach to the next magazine issue. From initial artwork collection to post-production analysis, publishing virtual assistants at Great Deals Media are integral to a smooth and efficient magazine production process. We streamline workflows, manage communication, and contribute to the ongoing success of each publication. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this video helpful.
I have a newfound love for Leo after seeing that video. That's a great glimpse into the life of a designer and everything that goes with it. And Jason, a common question that we always get, and I'm sure you probably had when we first got started, if either of us could remember when that was, is the adapting process of managing design virtually. A lot of us are used to the old days when we could walk down to the art room, and which designers love, by the way, when we go down there and ask them for help and things. How did you guys adapt to this important function being virtual?
Yeah, so Matt is our VP of publishing. If he was on, he could probably speak to that a little better than I can. But using some project management software, kind of keeping that workflow, making sure that it's okay. And then obviously, like Leo said in that video, we have a monthly meeting to discuss, how things went, improvements that need to be made, all that kind of stuff. So it's uh huge to be about like communication. Talk to people, let them know if there's an issue, let them know if they're doing great, because the minute something stops being top of mind, you start questioning it. And like I said, it's been phenomenal that the communication back and forth along the way, whether it's with the employees themselves or with the management and things like that, it's really helped a long way to switch from that somebody sitting at the desk across from you to somebody sitting, halfway across the world. So
Yeah, we're creatures of habit, and sometimes it takes a little nudging, but it's doable.
absolutely.
In your intro, you mentioned that you've since expanded. Your initial kind of challenge and support was in the graphic design realm, and you've since expanded on that and brought on your third team member, Maddie. What were some of the opportunities that led to that, and some of the things you were trying to support?
Yeah, so adding the second designer was partially because, like I said, we felt like our first one was a little overwhelmed. And when we first started thinking about getting a second designer, we wanted somebody who could reach directly out to our clients and take that out of the hands of our sales staff. Somebody who had that experience with customer service, but also with design, so that it basically takes the middleman out of that communication. So that was the kind of that first steps there. And then as we were kind of doing some of these things, we realized, we're a marketing company that doesn't do a great job at marketing ourselves. And so we realized, our website wasn't being kept up to date, our social media wasn't being kept up to date. And in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day running a company, we realized we needed some help with that. And again, in talking to you and Mike, going, hey, you guys can do this. Can you get us some candidates and we could start thinking about it? And, we met Medi, and I guess the rest is history there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we do have our special guest, Miss Medi, so she can share in her own words kind of what her day looks like and how she supports Jason and the team.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Medi, and I serve as a publishing virtual assistant for Great Deals Magazine, working closely with the awesome Jason and together with this awesome duo, Matt. So my role is focused on supporting our digital content delivery, marketing communications, and audience engagement across several platforms. So as mentioned, my responsibilities are spread across three key areas. First one is the post-production support. So I handle a number of critical tasks after each issue is finalized to ensure everything is delivered cleanly and on time. And uploading and publishing newly released coupons to both the Great Deals website and social media channels, assisting in the ad orbit post production process to make sure advertiser content is properly formatted, up to date, and accurately reflected across all platforms. The second one is for email marketing. I also manage our email campaigns and newsletters, both for advertisers and for readers, which is for the B2B and B2C. For B2B, these are sent to our business partners and including advertising opportunities, industry updates, and partnership highlights. For B2C, these go out to our, of course, our consumer audience and showcase seasonal deals, coupon highlights, and promo roundups to help drive traffic and engagement. The third one is for the social media management. So, lastly, I manage our day to day social content, keeping our brand active and engaging online, which is for posting updates tied to events. One of the events that we have successfully executed is the 30th event. And for the seasonal campaigns or general brand awareness, promoting available coupons and timely offers align with our overall marketing calendar. All of these responsibilities tie back to one goal, helping Great Deals Magazine stay visible, stay connected, and deliver value to both advertisers and consumers in every interaction. That's all for me. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, Miss Maddie. Um, So, Jason, your journey, it's been, starting with what you thought was going to be kind of a la carte work and overflow, and now has turned into pretty successful team of three that are supporting you guys. I think you guys have been a great example of how these services can really help you guys. What kind of advice would you give to a publisher that has considered outsourcing or may not be as familiar? What does it take to get to the point to where you're at and all?
Yeah, so a big part of that is knowing what you need and having that thought beforehand. Because I think part of our initial struggles were we jumped into it so quickly. We just needed a designer real quick, and there was some hiccups along the way. And part of that was our processes weren't in place and things like that. So a big part of that is knowing what you need and having that laid out. And the Queenie and some of the others at 032 are great at helping kind of organize that to make sure that you don't hire somebody who's just sitting on their hands all day doing nothing. So nobody wants to be that person. So, but yeah, that's a big thing is just knowing what you need, knowing what kind of functions you need filled, and kind of working that with them to make sure that everything's in place to be successful.
Awesome. That's really cool. You've gotten kind of both experiences of the hair on fire, got to make it go type of experience, as well as kind of the more methodical and process driven. So really
Yeah.
cool, really, really interesting story. Always love talking with you guys. Always learn something new. But thank you so much for being here and participating and sharing your experiences with us. And I believe I'm going to pass it to Victoria to share where we're going next. You're on mute, Victoria.
There. Hello. Sorry. Now
No
that you've
problem.
heard about our publishing virtual assistants, the process, let's also have you guys get a glimpse of our shared service. So I will pass this on to Queenie, who typically heads also our clientele for our shared service for the graphics and design team, that will talk to you about our design services.
All right, thank you so much, Victoria. So now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about our graphic and design services, which are slightly different from the publishing virtual assistant model that we just walked through. So while our PVA model is based around full-time dedicated virtual support, our graphic design services are built for flexibility because we know most publishers don't have 40 hours of design work every single week, especially with varying production cycles and publication frequencies. So hiring a dedicated designer doesn't always make sense. So that's exactly why we built our model the way we did. So instead of assigning a single full-time designer, we have a team of skilled production designer who could step in during your production windows, whether that's monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or anything in between. So some clients use our team for just ad design support only. Some use us to just do some sections of an issue, especially during busy weeks or to cover overflow work, while other publishers also rely on us for full cover to cover page makeup, where we handle the complete layout process for an entire issue. So how does the process work? So testing comes first. So we always begin with a testing phase. So before we ever touch a live file, we start with a structured testing phase. This is where we collect your previous issues for us to review, gather any templates that you have, discuss your goals and expectations, and develop a custom design test that helps us learn your style, your workflow, and design preferences. So this is where our team gets familiar with your brand, your page structure, your add to edit ratios, your visual standards, all before a single page or a single live page is touched. So once testing is successfully completed and you're all good with what you've seen, we now move into the production phase. And now let's walk through how that process works. So we have 5 steps for the production. So we always begin with, for step 1, project meeting. So we always begin with a kickoff call, or what we call as a pre-production meeting. This is where we introduce you to your dedicated project coordinator, who will then act as your main point of contact. And also we will introduce you to our graphic and design group leader as well, for an additional resource of support. So during this kickoff call or pre-production meeting, we will review key details such as your production schedule, materials, preferred tools, and everything needed for smooth production, from material delivery expectations to proofing procedure to even printer upload details, and of course, final deadlines. We also work to build out style guides and templates at this point in time in case you don't have any. So this allows for an even more consistency and faster turnaround time once we are live. So once we are done with the kickoff call, we then set up the project. So for step 2, this is where the project coordinator sets everything up to keep us organized and on track. So this includes setting up internal Dropbox on our side, so our design team can easily access the materials when they start working. And then second is creating a ClickUp project to manage tasks and keep communication clear and efficient. So ClickUp is our project management tool, and we can also give you access to our ClickUp workspace if you'd like to stay directly involved during the production. But if not, that's okay. We will set up automations to keep you updated on the project status every step of the way. Now, comes to step 3, the production, magazine production. So when the setup is complete, now the real work begins. So materials are uploaded to Dropbox and tasks are set up in ClickUp. Our designer now begins to crafting your layout based on your style guide, your content, and your goals. Whether you need a full magazine, just add layouts, or just a few sections of an issue, we will handle it. And then step 4 comes the proofing. So this is the time to review our work using the agreed upon proofing method that we discussed during the kickoff call, whether that's PDF, markup, Google Docs, the old school email, or other tools. This is where we will collect your feedback, your edits, your corrections, and any adjustments that are needed on the layout to ensure everything aligns with your vision. So step 3 and step 4, this is where the most of the back and forth comes in. So until everything is completely laid out. And then once everything's all good, comes step 5. This is the final approval and upload. So once everything is completely laid out and all final edits and corrections have been made, you will receive a master PDF, or what we call as a master file of the completed project for final approval before we upload the pages. So with your green light, we will prepare the print ready files and either upload them directly to your printer or deliver them in your preferred format. So we have other publishers as well who give us access to their printer, give us credentials so that we can upload directly to the printer. And while other publishers as well just prefer to get the packaged InDesign file and they would take it from there. They would upload the pages themselves. So for cases wherein we upload the pages, after you approve all of the pages at the printer, we will then package up the InDesign files for archive purposes. So then we wrap up another issue and then getting ready for the next one. So why clients love this process? Because it's flexible with a reliable support. So this model actually gives you the best of both worlds. On-demand access to a skilled design team during your production windows without the cost of or overhead of hiring an in-house person. So our clients love this approach because it's clear, it's efficient, and flexible, making the design process smooth, collaborative, and hassle-free. And just like with our PVAs, you are never on your own. You will have a clear point of contact through our project coordinator, defined workflows, and a team that's trained specifically for the publishing production, not just a general design. So that's it on our graphic and design services. Back to you, Victoria.
Keep not being able to find the mute button. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Queenie. All right, so now that you've heard the full scope, you've heard the proven process, how we work, how we'll work with you, how we set you up for success. You've heard our PVA model, which is a dedicated service of us providing a dedicated publishing virtual assistant and the awesome things that our PVAs are trained on and that's what they can do for you. And then our shared services, which is our graphics and design for the design services. All right. Thank you so much to everybody. Now we're open to Q&A. Ask us anything and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Anybody?
I will just add on. So everybody that spoke today, the goal for us was that we wanted publishers to hear from people that work with us in the Philippines to understand their level of knowledge of the publishing industry. And I think this has been a great example of hearing from Mehdi and Victoria and Queenie and Cindy of just the talent that's available to you in the Philippines. They're all working at night. It's 1:45 in the morning right now as we speak, but that's a normal day for them. And like I said, I started going to the Philippines in 2008, and it didn't take me long to figure out that these people are talented. They are ready to work. They're ready to make an impact. Whole goal of our company is to create opportunities that impact lives, and publishers are helping by creating these opportunities for these people to have jobs in the Philippines. So with that, and Kevin, if you have anything else, or Jim, go ahead if you have a question.
Well, so I'm sitting here. So, I mean, so as I transition from, I've known you guys forever, and I've never trusted what you do. And a couple of the people that I've set up files for, you guys do the work for. Like, you guys do the stuff for Kelly at Nearly Wed. And I am better now. I used to have a studio and I used to do production, and now I'm moving on to be an entrepreneur in a different space. But I have people that I work with that I'm going to need to outsource what I used to do. So, like, I kind of want to be able to hire you to do what I used to hire myself to do, to get hired to do.
Right.
And I never trusted that you guys could do it, if that makes, not to be rude, but I never knew how, but you guys have gotten so much better at it. You know what I mean? Like, you've evolved so well. And also the needs of, like, the ad trafficking is a real need, and understanding print production and ad orbit, and being able to actually articulate with a client, like reach out to a client and say, hey, we need your ads, and be able to get them in a way that isn't like, not to be able to actually get it from them in a professional way is an art, because you're working with millennials now that don't really understand what you're talking about when you say bleed and all that stuff. So this was really great, and to watch that video, that was a very impressive video. That it really landed for me, that I could trust you because I know the difference. You know what I mean? Like, I could see through what he was doing and was like, I'm sold that I could trust what you're doing to a level that I could see it. And it made me feel like when I need to transition to be the CEO of this new perfume company that I'm landing, and I want to do magazine work, I could farm what I used to be proud of doing to you, and be able to manage it at a level of, like, I'm still producing magazines, but I'm getting it done through you, and white labeling it, which is kind of like what you're good at, doing the work. I could be doing the creative direction. You guys could be doing the actual production.
Right. That makes Jim Neeson scalable.
Right.
Jim Neeson
You know what I mean?
himself, yeah, it's hard for you to manage hundreds and hundreds of pages each month, but when you have a team behind you doing it, exactly.
When I need it too, because let's face it, it's feast and famine. I need 22 hours in a row, not a monthly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And any publisher, Jason, you understand it. It's like, I didn't need somebody all the time, and then they get bored, and then what happens is they have to, like, figure out a way to to prove their worth the rest of the month. And you're like, no, go skiing, man. I don't need you like those first 2 weeks of the month, man. Right.
But I need you the third and the fourth week. Yeah. Don't.
Yeah, but don't. Yeah, bring food.
Right.
So yeah, so this was really super great because that, and then yeah, so it's thanks for letting me hop on and watch, because I'm looking for other ways of, like, social media and, like, this, like, being able to trust that that you guys have got the back of the publisher in a way that a publisher needs, not just, like, oh man, I'm going to go find stock for you and you don't understand what the stock I need is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
thanks for sharing that. That was great.
I was very interested. I'm glad you shared, because I was interested to hear that from you. You're obviously a respected guy in the industry and have been around. So that's a peek behind.
And Kevin, I know the difference too. That's the thing. That's why I said that, because like, I know the difference.
Yeah. It's all real world stuff, right? Mike's a publisher. We've been in it forever, longer than we care to admit, some of us. And the idea came up from real world challenges that publishers are faced with,
Well, and you guys know the difference too, but you're the owner. So it's kind of like the teacher. Nobody can hear the teacher. You need somebody else to stand there and say, you know, like,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Right on. Well, very cool. I think with that, then we wrap it up. We appreciate y'all's times. Hopefully, this gave you a glimpse into 032 and just outsourcing in general, and how you can get some support. If y'all are interested in hearing more, want to have a chat, have a question on the screen, you can see the ways to contact us. We're more than happy to take some time and answer any questions or help get some support in your workflows. So thanks for joining, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Right on. Right on. All right. We will see